I mean, it was clear to me that the administration at Columbia and most members of the faculty believe passionately in diversity, equity, inclusion, and the right to hurt Jews. That's what I saw. Isn't that what you saw?
I saw.
Now, Governor Walz says, I knew nothing about this, man. It's news to me. And he said, in fact, I'm taking some bold steps. He said, at first, I'm not going to run for a third term. I guess he needs more time. Hope he uses the time to prepare his defense, because he's got a lot to defend here. He knew what was going on.
All right, you saw that clip. And if it didn't get your attention, just wait until we break down the full footage. We're about to watch John Kennedy, known for his plain-spoken style, push back hard during a heated hearing. He takes aim at what he sees as ideological excess on college campuses and challenges expert witnesses who argue that campus unrest is rooted in a lack of funding. Kennedy questions that premise directly, suggesting that simply increasing taxpayer dollars isn't a solution to deeper cultural and political tensions. He also criticizes progressive lawmakers, including Ilhan Omar, accusing them and certain academics of promoting narratives he believes are divisive. His central argument is one that resonates strongly with his supporters. When did we start confusing hostility with diversity and disagreement with injustice? Whether you agree with him or not, the exchange is a sharp example of how political narratives collide in today's congressional hearings. Let's take a closer look at the full video and unpack the arguments on both sides.
Yes, be sure I understand your testimony. Did I understand you to testify that anti-Semitism is worse under the Trump administration?
Senator, thank you for your question.
You don't have to thank me.
Okay.
Your best thanks is to answer.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you that anti-Semitism has been rising, especially since the 2017
but has the
Charlottesville
Trump administration caused that? Is that your testimony?
I wouldn't say the Trump administration has caused anti-Semitism. Has there been an increase since Trump has entered office? Yes.
Do you see a causal connection there?
Yes.
Why?
Trump has highlighted and platformed neo-Nazis and white supremacists.
Okay. I can't see that far. I understood you to say that in answer to Senator Durbin's question, the spending reductions, reducing the federal budget would increase anti-Semitism. Isn't that what you said?
No, I did not. I said that the constant threats to cut money to the Office for Civil Rights and the Department of Education prevents the federal government from adequately investigating anti-Semitism and other hate crimes on college campuses.
So you think one way to stop anti-Semitism is to give people more money? Is that right?
I think one of the ways is to actually fund people that are actually designed to investigate anti-Semitism on college campuses.
What's there to investigate? We see it.
We
saw it. Did you watch television? Did you see what happened at Columbia?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, it was clear to me that the administration at Columbia and most members of the faculty believe passionately in diversity, equity, inclusion, and the right to hurt Jews. That's what I saw. Isn't that what you saw?
I saw.
Isn't that what you saw?
I saw protesters against the war in Gaza and them using some anti-Semitic slogans and thoughts. I would say, however, that it's hard.
But isn't that what you're telling me? That's not what you saw. Now, don't get off the subject on me now. You're telling me that's not what you saw.
I'm telling you that it is difficult for the federal government to adequately address the issue of anti-Semitism.
Are you telling me the Columbia administration and the faculty was supportive of the Jewish community?
I think that they are trying to
You need to stop dipping into your ketamine stash.
Into what? Excuse me?
Now, if we're going to solve this problem, we need to talk about it. And it wasn't just at Columbia. It was at Berkeley. It was at UCLA. It was at Barnard. And Columbia has a history of discriminating against Jewish people. They used to refuse to let Jewish students come to their university. Now, you can try to bubble wrap this, but that's what I saw. If you want to stop a lot of the anti-Semitism, maybe we need to stop teaching kids to be anti-Semitic.
Sir, I would relish that opportunity.
Let me ask you a question, Ms. Kohab. Did I say that right?
Kohav.
Do you think it's possible to feel compassion for the Palestinian people without hating Jews?
Absolutely.
In fact, one of the lawyers representing one of the thieves in this case said many of the people, this was their excuse, said many of the people involved in the stealing thought that the state was okay with it. That's what he said. Here's his quote. No one was doing anything about the red flags. Red flags were everywhere. Nobody in state government, he said, was doing anything about the red flags. It was like someone was stealing money from the cookie jar and they kept refilling it. The state knew. And at one point, Governor Walz and some of his agencies said, whoa, maybe we ought to put a stop to this. And they backed off. They said no more money for a while. Well, fresh hell broke loose. You know what happened? The largest, most powerful, fictitious company, run mostly by people of Somali ancestry, sent an email to the Minnesota state government. And they said that the state agency that was failing to promptly approve new applications and give us new money from, quote, minority-owned businesses, close quote, was going to result in a lawsuit featuring accusations of racism that would be sprawled across the news. If you don't give us our money, we're going to call you racist. They did it. It's all come out in evidence at trial. In fact, a lady by the name of Kesa Megan, she's one of the good guys. She is a Somali American who used to work as a fraud investigator in the Attorney General's office, who, by the way, was just as involved as Governor Walz in turning a blind eye to all this. She says, and she said it in the newspaper, she said that elected officials, and particularly those who are part of the state's Democratic-led administration, were reluctant to take more assertive action in response to the allegations. Why? Here's her quote. There is a perception that forcefully tackling this issue might cause political backlash from the Somali community, which is a core voting bloc for Democrats. And she is among the few among many prominent.
Wow. Just wow. Did he really make that ketamine remark? Kennedy certainly knows how to land a punchline. But setting the humor aside, let's talk about what we just watched. Because it raises serious questions. During the hearing, John Kennedy challenged a university professor who suggested that rising anti-Semitism on campus may be tied, at least in part, to funding cuts and policy decisions. Kennedy sharply rejected that explanation, questioning how a reduction in federal grants could possibly translate into radical behavior among students. His argument was clear. Blaming budgets avoids confronting deeper ideological issues. He also broadened his criticism to progressive lawmakers, including Ilhan Omar, arguing that some officials are more focused on protecting political coalitions than addressing misconduct or alleged misuse of public funds. In his view, failing to investigate fraud or disorder out of political caution represents a failure of leadership. The broader debate touches on recent controversies at campuses such as Columbia University and University of California, Los Angeles, where protests over Middle East politics have sparked national arguments about free speech, anti-Semitism, and institutional responsibility. Critics argue that diversity, equity, and inclusion frameworks have been applied inconsistently. Supporters counter that they are essential to protecting marginalized communities. Supporters of Kennedy see moments like this as him voicing frustrations they feel aren't being addressed by major media outlets. Critics argue his rhetoric oversimplifies complex campus dynamics and turns nuanced policy debates into political theater. The key question isn't just whether a joke went too far, it's whether the underlying issues are being meaningfully addressed. Are funding structures, campus culture, and political leadership contributing to the problem? Or are these hearings becoming another stage for partisan messaging? There's clearly strong emotion on all sides. What matters most is whether the conversation leads to practical solutions, or just sharper sound bites.